Hey, it's your girl, Nycci Nellis, and I'm back with another industry night. Yes, I am standing in the hallway of a bathroom because it is the brand new restaurant, Acqua Bistecca, from the famous James Beard Award-winning Michelin-starred chef, Michael Mina. Now we are here in the City Ridge development. They are the generous sponsors and hosts of this show, and this is where the new restaurant is opening. Now I've known Michael Mina for a long time. In fact, one time he even taught me how to cook his world famous lobster pot pie. But today he and I are just sitting down, chatting about old times and talking about what's happening for him today, like the opening of this restaurant. And actually, I got a little special guest star, his executing chef here, Colin joins us too. We have a terrific conversation. We eat some steak, we twirl some pasta. It's a great show, so tune in. Okay, so with me today is Michael Mina, three-time James Beard Award-winning Michelin-starred chef. You know him because of Bourbon Steak. Well, you know him for lots of things, but you know him also because of Bourbon Steak here in D.C., which opened 18 years ago.
Yes.
It is still like the space to go in D.C. It's in the Four Seasons. It's so sexy still to this day. All the celebrities are there, including me. But now you have this new property that we just opened here, Acqua Bistecca.
Acqua Bistecca.
But I want to talk a little bit before we get into the gloriousness of this new space here in City Ridge. I'd love to talk a little bit about your humble beginnings.
Okay.
Launching years and years ago in San Francisco.
Yes.
Let's talk about who that chef was then and how you've grown over the years.
Well, you know, we opened Acqua in 1991.
Right.
And I think that, you know, the fact I was 23, and I think that helped a lot because I was so naive.
You were like,
I was so naive to think, oh, let's just go open a restaurant downtown in the financial district in the city that has more restaurants per capita and one of the top restaurant cities.
Well, and also coming off of a recession.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Throw that in there.
Right.
And then there was an earthquake. Throw that in there too.
God, right.
And you know the whole idea, and it's so funny because you know when people say like the arts and you know music and how it and you know design, how it kind of comes all the way around a full circle and everything. The idea behind Acqua was you can do a great, like a 4-star restaurant. At that time, there was only 2 of them in San Francisco, and they were very small. They called them whisper joints. You know, you felt like you had to whisper. But Acqua, we wanted it to have a presence. So the bar had a massive presence. You know, it was a restaurant that ended up, you know, doing 500 to 600, serving 500 to 600 people a day. And the buzz was unbelievable. And we played music and it was just, it really broke the mold of what fine dining was. It still was very technical and, you know, and it was fine dining. But it was kind of a little bit of a mold breaker, especially on the West Coast. And I loved it. That's when I really fell in love with everything about it. I mean, our staff was, you know, and those were the days where things were different. You were tougher, you know, I look back.
Oh, I mean, think about it. Like in the 90s, Gourmet Magazine had the rock and roll picture, right? On the cover. Do you remember? Chefs as rock stars.
Yeah.
And I mean, that was the real change of how the Food Network was out. The public started eating and understanding restaurants in a very different way.
Yep,
right? There was
absolutely.
this huge growth in the 90s.
Absolutely. And then the second restaurant was the Bellagio, was Acqua at the Bellagio. And that's where I got the experience of what it's like, you know, the difference of working within a hotel and really saw that opportunity of like, wow, you know, we can partner with these hotels and build gorgeous restaurants. And
can I ask some questions about that?
Yeah.
I think people don't understand how and when I say people, I mean like lay people, the diners.
Yeah.
Like, I want to go to a Michael Mina restaurant, but they don't understand, well, Michael Mina isn't necessarily in that restaurant, right? So how do you go about educating the public as they come in, as you expand your restaurants? Because you started with one, now you have, what, 45?
We have 34.
34,
Yeah.
okay. There's a misnumber out there on the internet, but
Yeah.
but how do you expand like that and maintain that quality, especially with the hotels?
Yeah. Well, the hotel, it's interesting because you have to be very committed up front to really, in this day and age, it's gotten easier, in all honesty, because of systems, technology. There's different ways that you can measure. And the reality is, what everybody wants from restaurants is consistency. That's what they want. They want the restaurant, they want it to start out innovative and be great and have the right feel and everything else. But the trick is not the opening,
Right.
Everyone says it's so hard to open a restaurant. It is, but it's much harder to be consistent
And
3
sustain
years
it. Right.
later and to be able to do that. And I think that that's what you really focus on, and no one person is going to do that. So it's not like, no matter what, even when we had one restaurant, it wasn't like one Acqua, there was 100 employees, and we needed every single one of them. Like, I'm telling you, the day that the day that a busser that polishes glasses wasn't at work, it felt like the whole place was.
It's like a puzzle, like every
everybody
piece.
is so important in a restaurant, and so then you want to give them the tools, and you want to give them the education, and that's where my role has really become more and more and more, is just working with our teams and really obviously creating food, innovating, and creating concepts and things of that nature. But then how do you bring them to life? And that's the real trick.
Well, I'm sort of curious about bringing, like, what gets you jazzed about the process, right? So when you're, like, here you are a chef, but now you're part of the creative process. Like, I always think of Bourbon Steak because it's so much more than what its name implies. Like, it's not really a steak house.
Right.
You serve steak,
Yeah.
it's delicious, but it's a delicious restaurant with an incredible program, a hospitality program.
Exactly.
When you opened here, when you decided to open up in the DC market, what made it sexy to you?
Well, first of all, the location was great to open up in Georgetown with the Four Seasons, and that partnership was really strong. Secondly, I was, I looked at DC and I was like, wow, it's going to explode for food, because there's so much media here. And what we all know why there's so much media here, but
Right.
there's so much media here, and there's people here, their clientele's here, and you have all of the pieces that you put them together, create a great food city. And I was like, wow, there are great chefs here, and my favorite chef of all time, happened to be in DC. Unfortunately, he's no longer with us. Was John Louis Paladin.
I would say Jean-Louis.
Yeah,
It was either Jean-Louis or Michelle. I didn't know which way it was going to go.
Oh, I love Michelle too, but John Louis was, my favorite chef of all time. And so, I was always intrigued with, why did John Louis go to DC, and if he came to the States and didn't go to New York first, right? And I couldn't have made a better choice. Honestly, like it's been amazing, just the loyalty of the clientele and our employees. It's just been great. I love it here.
In the menu there, when you first opened,
Yeah.
you were known for your lobster, your signature dish, the lobster pot pie.
Yeah.
And the way you cooked your steaks.
Yeah.
Right? It was revolutionary at the
Right.
time. The sous vide, the butter, the whole thing. That's 18 years ago.
Yeah.
Has that process been refined?
Uh-huh.
And do you play with it still?
Absolutely. It's just been refined because, again, like I said, the technology's better, the equipment's better, the circulating machines are better. I think we were able to work with people to customize some pieces, patent some pieces,
Look at you.
And well, just so that we could get it to where it was extremely consistent.
Sure.
Because, that's the type of thing that you can, that the equipment can, it's like a rationale. I always say, the best cook in the kitchen, better than all of us, including myself, is not wearing a chef jacket, is wearing stainless steel, and his name is his or her name is Rationale. It's this oven that can do everything, right?
Well, it seems like to me, like I learned about reverse sear, basically cook a really good steak
low and slow,
and then sear it. And I was like, oh, this makes so much sense.
So much more sense,
right?
Yeah. And it's all about not bringing it past that temperature where it releases juice. And so then it's only releasing the juice for a few minutes while it's getting charred. And that's where the magic's at. And that's what we do here as well.
Well, let's talk about this. So we're in Acqua Bistecca. This is an ode to an Italy steakhouse, right? I mean, Bistecca is steak.
Yeah, but not a steakhouse. This is, if you think about it, it's three things that I absolutely love. Well, my wife, she's is Italian, and that's all, Diane, that's all we eat if it's up to her. My son, that's all he eats if it's up to him.
Right.
And so I've always loved Italian food. We did a restaurant in Charleston called Sorelli, and it was an enormous, it still is an enormous success. Small though, does great business, but it's in a beautiful little brownstone, and it's a few levels, and it has a little bit of a different vibe. It's a little bit more of an upscale vibe to it. And when we had the opportunity to do this, what I really love about the whole idea, every great Italian restaurant that I love to go to, not that it's every great Italian, there's many great, all the ones I love to go to are the ones where you walk in and it feels like a party.
Yes.
And big menus, feels like a party. Everyone can, it's just fun. Music's loud, the vibe is great,
right?
And it's fun, and you can have a family sitting next to people that are completely partying and having a great time, drinking big wines, and has it all, right? And so when we were really creating the concept, I said, look, my first restaurant was all fish,
right?
And a lot of the fish that was on the menu, a lot of the preparations were Italian. Second restaurant concept was steak, right? And probably the concept that I've always wanted to do was, have this bigger Italian restaurant that really had a great, that just had great energy, great vibe to it.
I mean, look at this bar.
Yeah,
it's
dramatic
crazy.
Bar, good,
But actually, the dining room is really opulent.
Absolutely.
Which I really think, what I'm seeing out there as a national trend is sort of this return to opulence 100%. In hotel design. There for a long time we were seeing, sort of pre-pandemic, a lot of like blonde woods and plants and,
right.
Do you know what I mean? Very what's the word I'm looking for? Not modest, but just like serene, just very clean. Do you know what I mean? But during the pandemic, everybody sort of said, well, when the pandemic's over, it's going to be like the Roaring '20s, and it's going to be all out. But everybody had to build it and get there first.
Right.
So I feel like this is like that announcement, like we're back.
That's it. And I really, felt like that with this style of restaurant and this style of menu that we're doing, the food, and the vibe we're looking for, that's what we wanted. We wanted early in the evening, everything, it feels like a neighborhood around here. People can come here, and then as the night goes on, it'll get a little bit louder, and later into the evening, it'll have more and more of a vibe when you get into the second seating.
Well, I think what's really interesting is that you're in a new development, and since you opened Bourbon Steak here in D.C., D.C. has grown from a
Tremendous.
real estate standpoint, right? Like the
Tremendous.
Wharf didn't exist,
Yeah.
Navy Yard didn't exist, this
Yeah.
City Ridge did not exist. So
Yeah.
there is just this huge investment in real estate, which allows for new restaurants and new concepts to really
Absolutely.
thrive, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
All right, so I want to get into the menu
Okay.
and talk about what you're serving here. So while we do that, let's take a little pause
Okay.
so we can bring in your executing chef.
Okay. Thank
Okay,
you.
great. So I'm back with Michael Mina and a ton of gorgeous food, which we're going to get into. And the executing chef is Colin Kark. Michael, I'd love to know how you and Colin found each other.
You know, we actually found each other through Mark Bromley.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, at the Four Seasons.
At the Four Seasons.
And Mark introduced me to Colin, introduced me to his work and his passion and the places that he had worked. And I was, you know, first time we spoke, I was like, wow, this is the guy. This is the guy. And it's funny because I had somebody for here.
Okay.
And I pivoted them because they were a little bit, they'd worked for me for a long time. I pivoted them because they were, you know, either wanted to come here or be in San Francisco. We went to San Francisco and we made room for Colin. And best decision we could have made. And his background is tremendous in this style of cooking. And I think, you know, the city's going to really see something special in what he does.
So Colin, quickly, let's just give everybody a brief resume, because you have been in D.C. for quite some time, but you have a deep Italian roots. Tell us.
Yeah, so I'm originally from Philadelphia. I kind of cut my teeth working for Mark Vetri for 5 years in Philly. And then I moved to D.C. in 2013. I was one of the opening chefs at Le Diplomat. And then I went to Fiola Mare. I was there for 4 years in Georgetown, working for Fabio Trabocchi.
So big restaurants are not a big deal for you.
I've been in some restaurants. I've done some openings.
Yes.
So, and then I was the chef of Via Sofia in the Hamilton Hotel on 14th and K. And then when I learned about this opening and you know, the opportunity to join the Mina Group, I jumped.
I bet.
Here we are.
So let's talk about what's on the menu, because we've talked about, like, we're doing a lot of things, large format and et cetera. But what is on the menu, and how did the two of you collaborate to what finally wound up on the dish?
So I think a large part of you know, kind of the thought process behind this menu is kind of contemporary takes on familiar, approachable classics.
Okay.
So there's a big focus on cooking technique, on ingredients, but on familiarity and approachability.
Okay.
And things being recognizable and easily understandable, but with, you know, just kind of contemporary takes.
Okay, so pasta, steak, salad, all easily recognizable. But what is it about each that makes them special?
So we'll start with the pasta. So it's a spaghetti pomodoro. So it's obviously a staple that everyone knows and is familiar with. It's done a million different ways.
Right.
So essentially what we do is we make, you know, a
gorgeous.
beautiful pomodoro sauce from some lovely pomodorini tomatoes. With
Peachy or bucatini?
So that it's spaghetti.
It is spaghetti.
It is spaghetti, yes. It is a large spaghetti die. It gives
Okay.
it nice texture,
Yeah.
a nice chew, but it's picked up in with pomodorini tomatoes. And then we have a basil puree, which goes on top of it. And then we make a burrata espuma,
Ooh,
which gets
like
piped out of
piped
an
out.
acai gun
Gorgeous.
onto the top, which
and
really,
it
you know, just
smells
lends some-
delicious. Beautiful. And did you throw things at Michael and say, hey man, I want to do this? Or were you like, this is what I want?
We always work in groups, and so myself, Chef Colin, and then our corporate chef is Alec Griffith was actually from Del Posto,
Okay.
and so we have a lot of I would just say a lot of really great minds, especially when it comes to this cuisine, because we also have Sorelli. And that was with, when Adam Sobel was still with us.
Sure.
And then Nick Dugan is the chef there. And so some of the food came from there. And so it was all about putting together the collaboration, but it's really the format of saying, okay, this is the way we want this menu to work. And this is how we want people to dine when they come here, right? And that's hence the name. That's where the name came from. So, Acqua being my first restaurant, Bourbon being the second concept,
Right.
Acqua Bistecca, but creating a menu in which you have, as Chef mentioned, familiar, dishes that you add great product, great technique, and innovation to them, but there still is familiarity. And so from the crudos, you start with, you have your crudos, you have your salumis, you have your antipastas, you have your salads, and then you get into your pastas. And then the heart of the menu really is you've got your list of steaks and you got your list of fish, and they all come with one garnish and then some sides.
Okay.
Then we have some specials every day. So a special steak, a special fish that's something that's flown in, a special crudo, and then what is probably my favorite part of this menu, because the idea for me is that, to create a great party, like I love, I welcome every single diner, every two top, but I love the larger tables because this is that style of food where cooking for large tables, it really gives that feel in the room. And
so how are you both hitting the large tables? What does it, are we talking family style? What are we thinking?
So what we want to do is, obviously people can order and have family style. We wanted to add one other element to it that is not something you're going to get at any other restaurant. And that is a menu that for 6 or more people, they can order in advance. And the dishes are all large format dishes. Dishes that are going to be better done large. So like a full shank for the ossobuco.
Right.
A whole beautiful whole fish, so it might be a beautiful local striped bass or something like that. A big baked pasta, things of that nature. A whole fish that's been made into a crudo. You take the whole fresh fish and slice it all up and make a crudo. And so diners will experience things that have a big wow factor to them just because of, the size, but actually when you cook them, you get I think a lot of times you just end up with a better dish.
How do you feel about that?
I mean, I think it's super exciting. It's really cool. It's a chance to, be selective with your product, to an opportunity to know how many people you're cooking for and get something that fits them perfectly. And it's just, it's doing something, unique and special and different. So it's super fun.
Okay, so what is your go-to dish at the moment? What do you like? Okay, Nick, you're coming here. This is what you should order tomorrow.
So, I mean, the dish...
I will be here tomorrow.
The dish that I think we're certainly become known for is our lasagna.
Okay.
So it's a very impressive rolled lasagna. Yes. Essentially, we lay out, we roll and lay out pasta sheets. We build the filling inside of it, and then we roll it up, and we cut cross sections of it, and then pan sear it.
Ooh.
And then serve it over a Sicilian agrodolce with a little fonduta.
That sounds heavenly. It sounds like perfection.
It's very delicious.
Delicious. Okay, that's yours. And what are you drinking with it? Is there a cocktail on the menu that you're hot for, or are you a wine guy?
I mean, I enjoy both, and we have an amazing cocktail program here.
Clearly, there is a bar here.
A lot of options, yeah.
Okay. And what about you? What are we loving for the menu?
I would say the mozzarella stick with caviar on it. So it's your traditional idea of a mozzarella stick, sourdough crust, like sourdough bread we use to make the crust.
Well, I mean, hello, San Francisco. Go ahead.
And then caviar over the top, and so you get the creaminess of the mozzarella and the stringiness, the bread crust and the caviar, and I would just drink champagne.
Okay, I feel like somebody has finally seen me and understands who I am because I am the ooeyest, gooeyest cheese girl. Like I love ooey gooey cheese and I love caviar. Yeah. And I feel that's like who put the peanut butter on my chocolate. Remember that Reese's peanut butter? Like that's been missing. I'm so excited. All right. I want to thank you both. I know how busy you are. We're in opening. Colin, thank you so much for joining us. I just want to have, Michael, I want one more question for you.
Okay.
You've been a part of this industry we've been in the industry together for a long time. You've been there a little longer than me, even though we're the same age. But if you could give one piece of advice to a young chef with like big, saucepan eyes on the future of the hospitality industry, what would you tell them? Because it's so different today than what it was when you opened in '93.
Sure. Look, I mean, I think the thing that you hear so commonly is nobody wants to work like we did back then. Nobody wants to. It's not true.
I don't think that's true at all.
It's not true at all. People learn differently now, and they actually want to learn faster because they're looking up everything on their devices.
You can watch a YouTube how to do it.
And so you have to, everyone has different ways of running a kitchen, but I would say the most important thing is transparency from day one of information, and try to really let, like what we created many years ago and continue to advance was this platform called Recipe Exchange. And it enabled you, the day you start working in a kitchen, the day you're in garde manger, you get every recipe, every dish in the whole restaurant. You get everything in the whole restaurant. You have access to everything. And we're not going to hide it from you because you've only been here 2 weeks. If you leave and you take it, you take it.
Right.
You can't do both. And so you're asking a lot of people when they work in a restaurant. Jobs are hard, and you're asking a lot of people. And then the second piece of advice is that while you're learning, your craft and you're perfecting your craft, remember your craft comes with having to know and understand the business side, because you and me have seen how many of the greatest chefs that none of us ever got to see their food because they didn't last, because they had a bad partner, a bad lease, a bad this, a bad that, and it drives you crazy when you're as passionate, you work as hard as
Colin, right?
Colin works, and then it's like, oh well, I didn't know anything about business, and I screwed up with a lease.
Well, I just think it's also
right.
It's the math of the hospitality industry, especially today. It's harder now than it ever was.
Yep.
Right?
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you both. I appreciate both of you so much. So I get to do really fun things in this job, and interviewing Michael Mina was definitely one of them. Here I am in his gorgeous new restaurant, Acqua Bistecca. You're getting an early bird view because it is not yet open, and you got to see all these delicious dishes and hear about Michael's incredible journey from opening up his first restaurant in 1993 to what's happening in the hospitality industry today. I was thrilled to meet his new executing chef, Colin Clark, and we got a real in on how to order when you come to this restaurant. Thanks so much to City Ridge for hosting us today, because we would not be here without them. And thank you for joining us. So, of course, you want to follow me at NYCCINELLIS on all the platforms. Don't forget, this is on YouTube and, of course, downloadable on all your podcast platforms. Check out Foodie and the Beast, the only food and wine variety show in D.C. And everything you heard here today you can find on the listareyowanit.com, the online e-zine that tells you everything happening in the DMV. So, thank you for joining us. And you need to get in here because you definitely want a taste of this. Be safe out there.
Produced by Heartcast Media.